Radar is very, very active this morning, as is overnight when you heard all of those raindrops coming down. You heard the storms as you went to sleep. We're going to be keeping a close eye on when the rain gives us some breaks, but it feels like it's just nonstop, at least for the morning. We're glad you're up with us here on 13 Sunrise. Yeah, it's been a very, very impactful day. If you were ready for some rain or if you weren't, it came down in full force last night.
Yes, but at least we can say it's rain. It's not the snow that we had around here on Monday, because we do have those warmer temperatures, but yeah, it's the kind of rain that you can't just, I'm going to duck into the office and just hold my bag over my head. You probably want to grab the umbrella this morning. It's pretty heavy.
Even if you run for it, you're kind of getting soaked out there this morning. Would you rather be the wettest state or the snowiest state?
Wettest.
Jalea.
Sure. Sorry.
One of the two. That's the only two options.
That's my vote too. That's my vote too. Yeah.
Well, thank goodness temperatures are above freezing. So it's just water for us, but there is a little bit of ponding on some of the roads this morning. So we have been watching that. Speaking of ponding, there has been enough water to do it. Let's talk about those rainfall reports coming in this morning. I'll be updating them about 15 minutes. The 6 a.m. reports will be coming in shortly. Indianapolis, so far one of the biggest rainfall totals in the state. There at the airport, 3.45 inches, over 3 inches in Shelbyville, over 2 inches in Greenwood. A lot of us, at least an inch of rain has fallen. Now, when you go far to the north or far to the south, we haven't gotten as much. This narrow band of rain has been really hitting the heart of central Indiana. This is a radar estimation map with the yellow color showing you places where we think at least 2 inches have fallen when you're kind of measuring the raindrops as they're falling down from the sky. We still have some aerial flood advisories. You kind of see this neon green color. I know it's tough to see. You're going to see some ponding and flooding out in some of the farmers' fields. You're going to see the drainage ditches filled with some water, and then on some of the roads this morning, even downtown Indianapolis, there's a lot of street flooding, and maybe in your town there could be a little bit of flooding as well. A lot of times it's okay as you're headed out the door, but be on the lookout for some of the extra water on the roads. Now this morning, widespread rain is becoming more isolated and intermittent, and we'll still have some on and off rain and maybe a stray downpour through the rest of this morning. A break this afternoon, if you look to the west, and then maybe some thunderstorms coming in after about 5 o'clock or so. So we're going to time out the rest of your day and let you know how much more rain is headed your way today and the rest of the week. But let's talk traffic this morning as you're headed out the door. Of course, roads are wet. A lot of road spray out there this morning. But notice roads to the north are not as wet. We haven't picked up as much from Tipton to Kokomo, even north to Delphi, Monticello, good morning, in Peru and Lafayette, where we haven't gotten a lot of the action, but most of the action has been in Indianapolis. Right now, we don't have any active crashes out there this morning. We've been watching 65 in the construction area coming in the south side of Indianapolis. Traffic's moving fine. And notice when you look at the backs, especially of the semis, there's a lot of road spray out there this morning. So even if the rain stops, it's going to kind of look like it's still raining on your windshield for the next couple of hours.
Matt, thank you. And we do begin with some breaking news here this morning. The 2026 elections in Indiana.
We now know that former Republican Indianapolis Mayor Greg Ballard says that he's running for Secretary of State as an independent. He served 2 terms as Indianapolis mayor from 2008 to 2015 and then retired in 2021.
Now, Ballard tells us that he does want to challenge incumbent Secretary of State Diego Morales. Knox County Clerk David Shelton is also running for the Republican nomination. On the Democratic side, Bo Bai, son of the former Indiana governor and U.S. Senator Evan Bai, will face Army veteran Blythe Potter in the primary. And the Democrat and Republican nominees will be decided in party conventions later this year.
The 2026 general election is coming up November 3rd. Well, as Hoosiers showed up to an AES community house, they were met with a cancellation just before the meeting was set to start.
Yeah, they were there to get some answers. That cancellation, though, leading to perhaps some more concern, certainly frustration. Marina Silva is in studio and has more on why that meeting was canceled. Is it being rescheduled? A lot of questions. Good morning.
Good morning. And you're right, so many questions. A spokesperson with the company says numerous threats on social media caused AES to cancel Tuesday's meeting less than an hour before it was set to start. Now, this community open house has been planned for days, well before the company announced plans to sell to private equity firms. Now, some customers say they were planning to go get answers to high utility bills and the sale of the company. We spoke with one customer who got to the meeting shortly before it was set to start. When she got there, she was told the meeting was canceled, leaving her pretty upset.
I just think that it was, again, a push away from not facing the citizens and giving them, the explanation of what's going on.
Now, a spokesperson for AES told us they're still evaluating whether to move forward with additional open houses that were set for next week. Now, I did reach out this morning to ask AES if they filed any police reports regarding the threat. Once I get that, I will update this. Now, the sale of the company wasn't the only thing people wanted to talk about. They wanted to talk about those higher utility bills that they're getting. So coming up in just a little bit, I'll introduce you to one who she's pretty upset over that and just how much it's been raised.
And a lot of customers felt like the timeline of this meeting was a good time to be able to ask those questions. I imagine that adds to the frustration. Thank you, Marina.
Well, this morning, the Trump administration is facing criticism as the U.S. and Israeli conflict with Iran expands.
Some of it is coming from Americans now stuck in the region. The president suggested yesterday that there was no evacuation plan in place before the situation unfolded because it all happened too quickly.
So right now, officials are urging Americans to contact the State Department if they are stuck overseas and need help because they want them to evacuate now.
Well, also this morning, we now know the names of the Army Reserve soldiers killed in the early hours of those strikes on Iran. Sergeant First Class Nicole Amor, Sergeant First Class Noah Teachins, Sergeant Declan Cody, and Captain Cody Cork were all killed in Kuwait after an Iranian drone strike.
And effects from this ongoing conflict may already be being felt here at home.
I saw this at the pump on my way in. Some economists say that if this is prolonged, could have a major dent in the economy. So Anna Chalker's in studio with where you will be seeing the most immediate impact. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning, ladies. Look, that's right, Julia. You saw with the big, bright, flashing lights, the gas prices going up on your morning drive. And if you're trying to find a station that has it under $3 right now, that's going to be tricky. And here's why. So the national average is around $3.20, and that's according to AAA. And that's already up 11 cents from yesterday. For here in Indiana, the average is around $3.15. And these averages, they may not mean a lot to you depending on where you're going in the state. So we wanted to zoom in on a couple stations around the metro. Several in this area are around $3.29 a gallon. And the lowest, according to Gas Bunny, they're on the west side. And one is at a speedway right now by the Indianapolis Zoo. That's at $2.49. And while you're watching these gas prices, those economists, they're watching oil prices. That's because 20% of the world's supply moves through the Strait of Hormuz. That's south of Iran. And rising tensions there have slowed shipping traffic of crude oil. That's the key ingredient in gasoline. And one IU professor says this is just the first sign of rising costs everywhere.
And you see that inflation is actually going up. It would be most certainly an unfortunate signal to the market to decrease interest rates when inflation is going up.
We just learned the Brent crude oil prices hit $84 a barrel. That's up more than 15% since the start of the conflict and the highest price since July 2024. So do not expect anything going down anytime soon, especially now that we're kind of getting over the $3.30 range of gas prices. We'll keep checking in on those for sure, but we know there's a lot of slowed economic growth on the other side of this as well. So that's really going to cause some problems to the everyday prices when you have to go run some errands later on throughout the week. So we'll share some of that coming up, but also how the Federal Reserve may have to step in to look at those interest rates and inflation.
Always just a little bits at a time, but it certainly adds up, those increases. Thanks, Anna.
All right, and on the gas prices there, we always check for the lowest gas prices across central Indiana and keep this updated on our website. WTHR.com/gas prices is a site that looks at the lowest prices in the area, actually the 10 lowest gas station prices, so you can shop around if it's not too far from your drive off.
Well, we are, of course, keeping a close eye on all of the developments in the Middle East, and you can find any of the latest information on this conflict with Iran at WTHR.com. We also have a lot of information streaming for you right now on WTHR+. Well, as smartphone users become younger and younger, the people trying to exploit those children are getting smarter
and craftier. So now parents are having to get smarter and be better informed to stay ahead of the tech curve. Fishers Police hosted an online safety seminar last night, showing parents how to do their best and make sure their children's digital entry points are secure.
So it is a huge problem, some even calling it a pandemic. Last year, there were nearly 30,000 cyber tips to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in Indiana alone. Fishers PD says knowledge is the power.
You don't know all the ins and outs of football, but you go to your kids' football games, you talk to the coach, you look things up about how to help them practice and be better. Do the same thing, talk to other parents, take these safety classes.
Give them an opportunity to come back at their own time and talk about it when they're ready.
The department has hosted these seminars for years, but they do say the recent death of Haley Busby gives this message more weight and more urgency.
And with so much interest, there are more seminars planned in the coming weeks. We have a schedule right now at WTHR.com. Hey, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Julia. It is a wet start out there this morning, a little chilly with some 40s. But this afternoon, expect the rain to wrap up for a second before more thunderstorms are likely to arrive after about 5 or 6 o'clock with a wind and a hail risk for some of us. We'll let you know how much more rain is heading your way.